Welcome, critters. I'm Claire Jones, your devoted host of the Sacred Reading CR podcast, where we discuss and examine Critical Role episodes, plot lines, characters, and players through the lens of sacred reading practices. I just remembered I had a dream last night about the Critical Role players.
Interesting.
I was playing D&D with them, like not the game D&D, but like living D&D with them.
Interesting.
I
That
just
sounds like a
remembered.
good dream. I've
It
definitely had
was.
dreams about playing D&D with the cast of Critical Role before.
Yeah, I was living D&D with the cast of Critical Role.
Yeah, that's
And
something new. I haven't
oh my
had
God, I
that.
just remembered a detail. So Sam Riegel was playing a mix between Scanlan and the Bard from The Witcher. What's his name?
Oh, I haven't seen The
Jaskier?
Witcher.
Jaskier. It was a phenomenal combo for Sam, I'm just gonna say.
Incredible.
Anyways, this particular episode is about Campaign 1, Episode 47, Part 1 and 2. And joining me today is Petall.
Hello.
Yeah, we decided to do it all in one because it's a very long first half. So we just decided to get it over with instead of having half an hour of episode to discuss in part two. And
Yeah.
I just realized I didn't pick an icebreaker question, so I'm going to pick it really fast from this list that I have right here. How do you think the world will end?
Light topic.
It was the
What a
first
light
question I saw.
what a light cheery topic for this happy holiday season. Um, do I have to do a serious answer or can I do a silly answer?
Do whatever you want, bro.
I am gonna say just because we are recording this around Christmas time, I think the world is gonna end in a flood of eggnog. I think the world's gonna flood
Mm.
in eggnog and that'll be it.
Can at least be vegan eggnog because that would be a delicious way to die.
Yeah, I
Great.
agree with that too, actually, because I'm lactose intolerant, so I'd
Yeah.
probably have an extra bad time with
Yeah.
regular dairy
If it has
eggnog.
the bourbon
So
in it too,
yeah, yes, absolutely.
yes. Yes, please. Yes, please. Uh, I really hope we end with an alien invasion, but I hope that the aliens can see that I'm a good human and that I should be taken with them or at least kept
I like that you're assuming that this is happening within our
during my lifetime.
lifetime and it's not happening like hundreds or thousands of years in the future. Really says something about our current state of being.
Well, the scientists say. Yeah, with all of the ice caps melting right now, we have repaired the ozone level hole that we had. I did
Yes.
hear that recently. So the ozone, great. The global warming, not so much.
No.
So maybe it will be a water-based alien species.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. If
Yeah.
they make me into a mermaid, I'm sold.
I'd love to be able to breathe underwater.
Absolutely sold.
I'd want to be more like a seal or a selkie than a mermaid, but that would be my vibe.
Sure. Maybe they'll take our requests.
Maybe.
Be like, yes, please, sir.
Yes, these aliens have the ability to like transform. They're the polymorph spell. They have the polymorph spell.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And, since it's the holiday season, maybe we can be like, have embedded LED lights or
Yeah.
bioluminescence or something.
Bioluminescence would be sick.
All right. Cool. Great.
Cool.
Well, please join us as we embark on this exciting adventure in story analysis and self-reflection in order to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. As always, we love hearing from you all, so please like, comment, subscribe below, and ready? All right, let's dive in. As we open this episode, Vox Machina, they've successfully closed the portal to the elemental plane of fire near the Fire Ashari. The Pyra is the name. I mixed it up with a name from my books. So, Pyra is the one that I'm looking for. Vox Machina decides to take a rest before venturing on to the next vestige of divergence, which is what they're looking for right now. Scanlan, for the benefit of both the party and the surviving Fire Ashari, casts Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. The spectral doorway appears, and everyone in the group is treated to a beautiful mansion with hundreds of servants and any food or drink they could want. Grog requests a cow from the servants, claiming that he needs to train and proceeds to punch it. Instead of harming spectral cows, Vex convinces him to train with her in the basement and uses this time to start practicing with the broom of flying that she stole from Gurn Blanston, with no success. She next tries to get Keyleth's, then Scanlan's help, sitting on the black satin sheets of Scanlan's bed. With a quick investigation, they discover the activating phrase candle in Draconic. So Vex and Laura Bailey, let's be real, is overjoyed at regaining the ability to fly. Later that night, while the household sleeps, three of the party members have nighttime visitors. The first is Keyleth, who is visited by the leader of the Fire Ashari, Headmaster Serkonis. During their talk, he reveals that it was the green dragon Raishan who had opened the portal to the fire plane and released Thordak from his prison. Raishan had managed this by disguising herself as a human female orphan adopted out of generosity by the Fire Ashari. And as a final warning, Serkonis warns Keyleth not to trust all of the allies going forward. Vax has a dream or a vision, maybe. He dreams that he is facing a giant golden web, each strand seeming to pulse with life. While examining this web, a cold hand reaches out and plucks one. Turning around, Vax sees the Raven Queen holding the plucked golden strand that represents his life. The Raven Queen cryptically offers Vax her new champion, a choice to be a great leader and tyrant or to choose to remain a nobody. Before Vax provides a response, he is dropped into darkness and the dream ends, or vision, we don't know. The last member of Vox Machina to get a strange dream is surprisingly Grog. Asleep on the sandpit of the training room, Grog dreams of being in an arena. Blinded by the sun but wielding Craven Edge, he cuts down all the foes before him. Once his vision clears, Grog sees that he had actually cut down women, children, innocent people, and his friend Pike. While in the dream, Grog wishes to cry out in horror but can only laugh. The dream ends with Grog being approached by the members of the Herd of Storms led by Kevdak, who bow before him. The next morning, the tavern regroups and Scanlan treats his friends to a breakfast of chicken, waffles, and mimosas. They discuss the limitations of Scanlan's mansion as well as Vex's new broom. She attempts to shoot her arrows while flying on it with limited success. Keyleth expresses that she doesn't want Vex to die from her greed, and Vex declares that she is no longer afraid of dying. Percy says that he feels too guilty to tell Vex no. Agrees to make her a seat for the broom for better stability. Keyleth then tells them about what Serkonis told her, and they discuss their next plan of action. The two immediate orders of business are to, one, visit the Herd of Storms for the Titanstone Knuckles, and two, visit Osis's mate to the south of the Frostweald for information concerning other vestiges. Grog is not eager to visit the herd, who beat him up and kicked him out. He explains that way back when the herd had come across an old gnome, Wilhan Trickfoot, and the rest of the herd wanted to kill him while Grog objected. Kevdak made Grog fight Kevdak's son, Zanror, his cousin, before exiling him. Percy and Scanlan dare Grog to face his herd, and suddenly he's ready to do it. Grog suggests it might have to be a one-on-one fight in order to get the knuckles. That's kind of how it goes with the Herd of Storms, and he'd rather have the other vestiges before that takes place. Given that, the party decides to find Osesa's mate first, so Keyleth uses transport via plants to take them to the Bramblewood Forest, which is about a day and a half's travel away from where they're going, the Frostwheel. They decide to use Windwalk to reach it in one day instead, but as they travel over the city of Westrun, they notice a large open field where offerings for dragons have been left and collected. Workers are apparently being forced to labor in the fields as well. They revert to physical form and stealth to one of the workers, Reginald, who confirms those working for the dragon are coercing labor by holding prisoners, including his daughter. The dragons themselves have flown on, returning every day or so for the offerings, but left an occupying force of large orcs or something. Reginald isn't really sure what they are, but some of them look like Grog. They arrived within a day of the dragons leaving and started slaughtering and stealing. The party realizes that this is the herd of storms that they were looking for, and they decide to question the guard overseeing this field. Grog recognizes him as one of the herd named Horace, and they have Reginald lure him over before grappling him with entanglement. Grog leaps on him and starts punching, then tells him to stay quiet. Horace is surprised to see Grog, saying that he was supposed to be dead. He confirms that Xanror and Kevdak are both in the city. The herd had been heading north when they saw the dragons come through and watched them destroy the city and leave. They figured there were plenty of spoils left for them, and the 100-strong herd took over the city. They have recruited other races to aid them as well and killed all who didn't bow before Kepdak himself. They celebrated until the Black Dragon returned, and many were killed before Kevdak bent the knee and made an offering to the dragon. He promised the herd's might to gather spoils and deliver it every now and then, and the remaining herd, which is now only about 50 or 60 strong, keeps the leftovers and rules the city in the dragon's stead. Westrun is now property of the herd. Grog suddenly draws Craven Edge and drives it into Horace's ribcage, killing him, and the party watches in horror as the blade starts to absorb the blood. Grog doesn't feel right going into the city as Mist. He thinks that it's cowardly on his part, so most of them go scout while he waits with Scanlan and Reginald amongst the crops. The rest of the party reverts to Mist form and goes to scout the city. Vax, Vex, Percy, and Keyleth investigate and find makeshift barriers at the gates. The city is significantly damaged from the dragon's attack, though Wilhan Trickfoot's house is actually standing, as is Abjurist Noja's, who had helped them pre-stream. Some of the people have chains around their necks, and they all appear hopeless and downtrodden. The town square has been fortified with sharpened wooden stakes. There are multiple guards, including many Goliaths, around the Margrave's house where Kevdak has apparently taken up residence. Meanwhile, Grog confides in Scanlan that he has dreamed about killing a lot of people with his sword and that it has been talking to him. He wants to see if Scanlan can hear it too. Unsheathing it, he asks it if it enjoyed its snack, and when it replies, asks Scanlan if he heard the reply. Scanlan didn't. So Scanlan asks if he can hold it, and Grog agrees, but then is overwhelmed by the feeling that it means too much to give up and changes his mind and sheaths it again. Scanlan sees through Grog's prevarications. Wow. Don't know where that word came from. Grog's waffling and casts suggesting, compelling Grog to let him hold the hilt. And although Craven Edge tries to overcome the suggestion, it can't. Scanlan is now holding the sword, and Grog urges him to ask it a question. When he does, Craven Edge responds with a deep sigh and tells Scanlan that he must prove his worthiness by killing Reginald. Scanlan replies that he doesn't think he can or even wants to, and gives the sword back to Grog. He admits he did hear the voice and tells Grog he's not sure that Grog should have the sword. Grog protests and makes Scanlan promise not to tell anyone about it. Scanlan agrees, but says he's going to ask Pike about it when they find her again. The rest of the party returns and explains what they saw in the city. Grog's fear is that if it's anyone but him and Kevdak, the whole herd will get involved in the fight, all 60 or so of them, and Vox Machina can't win that fight. He's not opposed to facing Kevdak head on, but he needs to think about how exactly to do that. However, he thinks now is not the time and they should go look for Osis's mate instead. The party agrees that this is Grog's fight, so they'll follow him on this one and wait for Pike before taking on the herd. They tell Reginald that they'll return soon, and Vex tells him to spread the word that Hope is alive. Then they revert to Mist and head toward the Frostweald. What do we think about this episode?
It's a big episode for Grog. That
It
was one of the
is.
big standouts for me. We're
Yeah.
really, really entering Grog's backstory here.
I remember Taliesin going at one point, so how does it feel, Travis?
Yeah, yeah. And
Because
it's
it is,
cool to see because Grog is so often like used as like a joke character or like a character who just doesn't have a lot going on just due to like his general like lack of intelligence. And so it's cool to see the depth. There have been moments of depth, oftentimes when like Travis's own like intelligence and like
yeah.
planning and skill as a D&D player like leaks through, but it's really cool to like be having like this focus on Grog when he's been kind of like more of like a side character up until this point.
Yeah, and I love that Matt has set this up intentionally for him. Like, not only is he dealing with the Herd of Storms and his backstory and all of that, but he's also dealing with the Craven Edge issue right now.
Exactly. Both of them tie together very nicely
Yeah.
in terms of like Grog facing his past, like through encountering the herd again, but also like having this struggle for like we've talked about like his struggle for like what his real strength is and stuff like that. And here he is still very much relying through partially his own choice, partially the like control of the sword,
Yeah.
relying on Craven Edge instead of his own strength.
Yeah. And that feels a lot more natural narratively, I think, than if Matt were to just be like, all right, it's time for Grog's backstory, you know?
Yeah,
Because the Craven Edge started before we even learned about the vestiges. That was like Briarwood days.
exactly. Yeah, and it's just I just think it's cool how this is all like woven together because it's also like they came across the herd naturally as well. Like it's really cool to see how Matt crafts the world and like places things within the world and like provides information to help guide the party throughout for different choices, but ultimately it is the party's choice where to go and what threads to follow. And so it definitely feels like a more natural, like stumbling across this, which does line up with a very narratively satisfying moment, rather than it just being like, oh, this is where the story is going now.
Yeah. And we also get the beginnings of other arcs through the whole dreams and visions.
And the conversation about Raishan. I'm just pointing that out because I love Raishan. She's such a fun
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
But yeah. There's a lot of setup in here
Yeah.
too for different things. And that's one of the things that I just really love about Critical Role in general is the way that the story flows and that there's threads for things all throughout. It's not like a just a, oh, it's this arc now and we're focusing on this
Yes.
character. It's like everything is constantly moving and you get to see how it all comes together, sometimes within the campaign and then sometimes like within the spread of like multiple campaigns. Just thinking
Yes.
about in campaign 3 how many like threads came together for campaign 3 stories that were originally planted in campaign 1 and 2.
And I think it's even as trivial as this is the first time that we've seen Scanlan's mansion.
That too, yes, that's a big moment. I love that spell so much. I love it for Scanlan. I love it for Caleb. It's just so cool to see like I just think that there's so much creativity in it and
Yes.
how it manifests, and it says so much about the character of the caster
Yeah.
in what that space looks like
Yeah.
and like how what it's like to exist in those spaces. It makes
And
me kind of like almost sad that we don't get that in campaign 3 because I would love to see what a campaign 3 Magnificent Mansion would look like.
yeah, I mean, it contributes so much to the campaign as it goes on. Like that's something that we were talking about in the last episode with the whole like Gurnt Blanston and all of that jazz, is that
Hmm.
there are so many little pieces that are being set up for future prominence.
Exactly.
Flying broom, huge to narrative development.
Flying broom. Yeah.
Mansion, huge to narrative development.
Yeah.
The conversation with Circonus, huge to narrative development. They all
Yeah.
seem small vignettes right now, but they all are just like that beginning seed of what's growing later on.
Absolutely. And I think back on the topic of the Magnificent Mansion, one of the things that I think I like so much about the Magnificent Mansion is that the nature of many D&D campaigns is that even if like D&D parties have like a home base, they're so often far from home.
Yeah.
But Magnificent Mansion is a way to provide the characters like a home and a resting space as they travel. And so it's just so satisfying to like see them, even if they can't, like even if they don't have the spell slots or things don't work out for them to be in the mansion every single night. It is really cool to that we do get this kind of like snippet of like home and comfort.
I mean, it also allows for one-to-one interactions that can't
Yeah.
happen while they're traveling with the group.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like maybe those whole like dream sequences can happen within a group context. Like if you're camping out within a group, you can have those individual dreams while you're asleep. But the conversation with Circonus is difficult to have in a group without everyone being like, "What? Oh my God!" Like
Yeah.
barging in on that. It also the whole splitting the group for scouting Western also allowed for the Scanlan and Grog conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Absolutely.
much needed.
Was very much needed. Yeah. Somebody has to notice that sword and know what's going on because there's no way Grog is dropping that on his own.
Yeah, yeah. And I just love how, we throw so much flack at the Chroma Conclave arc
Hmm.
because it goes on forever. Like it is one of the
Yeah.
longest arcs of all time. But Matt keeps it interesting with all of these overlapping mini arcs. I don't know if I can call them mini arcs because they then arc post the end of
Yeah.
Conclave as well.
I am really enjoying like just throughout this podcast being able to like because all kind of blends together in like the span of like
Yeah,
my memory of like watching this campaign for the first time,
yeah,
but like the being able to like sit down with a specific episode and look at like what's happening here, what plot threads are being introduced, like what's the significance of these episodes. It kind of was really making me appreciate the like flow and process of the whole Chroma Conclave arc way
yeah,
more because I'm beginning to see all these tiny details and it's less of like oh this like really long thing that
yeah.
kind of like blends together. I'm able to pick out the pieces and like yeah, just have a deeper appreciation for it.
And I've also been comparing it a lot to the animated series as I've been
Yes,
watching it as
absolutely.
well.
I've
Like
got a
it's especially with
uh,
the Raishan piece, because
yes.
I think it's very easy in the animated series to think that Keyleth's mistrust of Raishan is coming from nowhere.
Uh-huh.
But in the actual series, we see that it is very well founded.
Exactly. She's seen the consequences firsthand of what that trust in Raishan has done and just the lengths that Raishan can go to manipulate people. And she, like, yeah, like they do, I think, in the animated series, like, mention that she was in, like, in Pyra for a while, but you don't kind of, like, get the weight of that as much about
Yeah.
how they took her in and cared for her and like treated her as one of their own for who knows how long, and then she betrayed them and turned
Yeah.
out to be like a dragon who is was caught like caused all sorts of destruction.
Yeah.
Like you can't unless like there's just so much like it's such a big arc to adapt. There wasn't really the space in the animated series to like give
Yeah.
that the weight that it
Yeah.
has in the main series.
Yeah, it's hard because they are short episodes in the animated series, and they had to
Yeah.
condense the Chroma Conclave until I think it's 2 seasons that they did
Two
for,
seasons, yeah.
and that's like what, 12 episodes?
Yeah, and like base and I think like the first Chroma Conclave season was more focused on like Vestiges and Umbrasyl, and then all the other members of the Chroma Conclave
Yeah,
are in that the
seasons. Yeah,
second season of the Chroma Conclave
yeah.
stuff.
And this is also the episode where we see the Queen explicitly choose Vax as her champion.
Yes. That's
That
such a cool moment.
that term hasn't been thrown out yet up
Yeah.
till this point.
Uh-huh.
And I think that also changes a lot.
Absolutely.
And we can talk later on about like what Liam is actually going through at this point in time in his life as
Yeah.
well. He actually Skyped in for this particular episode as it was filming because of personal life stuff that was going on in his life
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. And so not only are we seeing these overlapping threads in the game itself, but we're seeing overlapping threads outside of the game as well.
Yeah. And that's really cool to see because I think one of the cool things about D&D and the way that it is so like player focused is it's cool to see the ways that like real life creeps in. It's not like I love TV shows. It's cool to see like TV shows with their but they've got like a whole team of writers who like craft it to make the most narrative satisfaction, but I feel like a lot of the times with D&D and D and actual play, you really get like a window into the player's soul,
Yeah.
whether intentionally or not. And even if they're playing somebody who's very different from themselves, it's still like the choices that they make and what they see as different from themselves is very telling.
I mean,
And
that's
it's
exactly what we're
just
doing with this podcast.
exactly. Like you could like psychoanalyze this stuff forever. And I'm not the sort of person to like psychoanalyze and like armchair diagnose and like place all these truths on people in that way or anything like that. But like I do think that it's cool the level of like personal touch that actual play has. And
Yeah.
I think that that deserves to be like recognized and acknowledged.
Yeah. And I think this is also one of those points in the campaign where Ashley's absence is
Mm-hmm.
woven into the narrative very naturally as well.
Yes.
Because it also, I think Ashley's absence and Pike's absence as a result helps underline Grog's resistance to facing the herd of storms. Like, he may have been dared and he may have been, convinced to give it more than he was previously, but he's still reluctant without having Pike there.
I also think it adds more weight to that vision or dream that he had where Pike is among the dead bodies because there's already that sense of like loss and missing Pike, and then it's just like that the permanence of the thought of her being like gone. I think that's really meaningful in my mind.
It
The
is.
fact, yeah.
I mean, Travis and Ashley are so close in real life that it makes a
Uh-huh.
lot of sense for them to be so close in this campaign as well. And
Absolutely.
I think it beneficially contributes to the way that they play their characters and to the way that they interact with challenges, opportunities, backstory, so on and so forth.
Yeah. Absolutely. The Grog and Pike relationship is like one that is just so fascinating and important to me. I just find it so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I love the Grog and Pike lo-fi video.
Yeah, it's a great video.
Oh, it's so good. And I also want to underline the whole Vex saying that she is no longer afraid of dying.
Yes,
Like,
that was
what?
a big moment. That's like huge and just really goes to show how much the like act of dying impacted her and probably like the fear that that inspired in her loved ones who had to go through that like almost losing her and well like actually losing her and then getting her back and just like I can't imagine what it would be like to hear that and knowing that like that meant that the risk of
I
her
mean, I don't know if
dying
anyone
is
really
bigger.
clocked it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I know they heard it and they like kind of responded to it, but it got brushed over so quickly that no one was like, wait, 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 let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Because, like, I would be like, wait, 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 what did you just say?
Yeah.
Like, we need to be concerned about that.
Yeah. And it's like an interesting concept, the like not being afraid of dying, because in some ways it's a good thing, but in some ways it's a bad thing. Like it
I
really
just,
depends on how it's taken.
I'm so curious what the reasoning is behind that. Like, is she no longer afraid of dying because she trusts them to bring her back like they did?
Hmm.
Or is she no longer afraid of dying because she's just like, fuck it!
Yeah, she's like already died once. Like,
YOLO!
yeah, exactly.
Or maybe yo a lot of times.
Or maybe it's like that thing, like, when people are in like intense scenarios, like people who are like terminally ill or like facing huge amount of dangers where they've reached a level of acceptance with it, like with all the dragons and the dangers, where it's just like, I'm gonna do everything I can to stay alive, but I've accepted that death is a possibility and
Yeah,
I've made
sure.
peace with it.
That may
Like,
be the reasoning. Or it may be like, I'm gonna run into danger and not care.
exactly. Like there's so much
I'm like,
that
that
that could
threatens the
mean.
whole group, girly.
Yeah.
We need to have a
Yeah.
conversation about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this episode, and it isn't necessarily, there isn't enough time spent on everything that happens in this episode either. Like some of these
Yeah.
things can definitely have time spent on it later on, and it definitely that's what happens. But I think this particular statement from Vex doesn't nearly get enough attention.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about D&D too, because it's not as like refined as like a plot and script that goes through a writer's room and editors and stuff like that. There are these lines that have these huge significance, but just because of like the flow of the game, like don't actually get more than just like the moment that they're said. And it's just something to ponder on.
Yeah,
You don't
definitely.
actually get answers all the time.
Definitely something to ponder on.
Which is kind of like how life goes too. There's a lot of things that are like, wait, no, that seems significant. And then you
Yeah,
can never like fully
yeah.
explore it and touch on it
Or you
again.
just forget it entirely sometimes. Like
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's funny that I brought up dreams at the beginning of this episode because I've been having a lot of like, I've been trying very hard to like interpret my dreams when I do have them and
Oh,
be like, I
interesting.
wonder why my brain came up with that particular situation sometimes. Um, And I think that's dreams are significant in interpreting our emotional states, interpreting our perspectives and what we choose to remember, what we don't choose to remember. But they're so forgettable too at the same
They
time
are.
that so many people, like, if you ask them if they dreamed last night, they'd be like, fuck if I know,
Yeah.
you know?
Dreams are so fascinating. I often wish that I could like record my dreams.
Mm,
Like you can like you could like record cable TV shows, stuff like that, and just like play them back because I think it'd be so interesting to see what it looked like with like a conscious brain and to be able to like I don't know, maybe it wouldn't make any sense because there's so many things in dreams where that like happen and then you wake up and you're like, what the fuck was that?
yeah.
But also like if it is possible to like parse it out. I just think it would be so cool to like see the dream in the entirety without the like pieces of it drifting off as you
Yeah.
wake up and
I mean,
like
I've
being
woken up
forgotten.
crying from dreams before because the dreams just impacted me so emotionally in the dream state that it woke me up because I was having such a strong emotional reaction to it. And so I've even started doing this like little habit where if I find myself and I'm conscious of myself waking up between dreams in the middle of the night, I'll spend like however amount of limited mental power I have in that moment to be like, I wonder what that dream meant before rolling over and going back to sleep. And so like
Yeah.
that's how I kind of am trying to train myself to remember my dreams more is
Hmm.
by making it a habit of in the middle of the night being like, what was that dream about? Why was I dreaming that? What does that mean? What is it a
Yeah.
metaphor for? I'm sacred reading my dreams in the middle of the night.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What do I want to do about that?
What do I want to do about that?
Um, but transitioning into personal stories, I'm particularly stuck on this statement by Vex because um I've recently been wondering, and this is kind of a heavy topic, and I don't really have much of a platform to discuss this otherwise. I'm wondering if there's a connection between in our modern day society. I kind of feel like we've been brainwashed by this idea of free 2-day shipping.
Hmm.
And I think we've been brainwashed by this idea of like immediate convenience. Like so many decisions are made on a day-to-day basis with convenience being the main value that we're looking for in a situation or in a relationship or in an exchange. And I think a lot of people are being frustrated by the fact that nothing comes with free 2-day shipping. And so I'm wondering if there's some sort of connection between this like free 2-day shipping convenience easy button and the rise in suicide
Mm. That's an
because
interesting thought.
suicide can be like an easy out often for
Hmm.
people is that like they don't want to go through the process of actually facing what is going on or fixing what is going on. That can be a reason sometimes. And I thought of this because I do have a friend at the moment who has been making a lot of like suicide jokes lately, strangely
Mm.
enough. Um, about how like she just wants that easy out, which is very concerning.
Yeah.
Um, she just like wants to be done with the struggle of life, like paying bills, making money, building a career, all of that stuff. And I just keep wondering if it has something to do with that easy, convenient lifestyle we've been.
I think it's also just because life is hard. Like I know life has
Particularly
always
hard
been
right now,
hard,
yes.
but it's particularly hard right now. It's hard to scrape together a survival. It's hard to like there's just so much going on in our world that is just making it so much harder for people.
Yeah.
And I think people get tired.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously it's like not a like good reason to like
Yeah.
nobody should
Yeah.
uh be in a place where they feel like that is their best option. But I think a lot of it too just has to do with like just how much the powers that be are making it so much harder for like everybody to
Yeah.
just do day-to-day stuff.
Because it's
And
our
to
version of the Chroma Conclave, right?
yeah, it is.
Like we are being overwhelmed by seemingly insurmountable odds at the moment. And
Yeah.
like that's why I want to dive more into Vex's statement here. I'm like, is that a suicidal thought or is it more of like a acceptance thought?
Yeah. There's so many things it could be.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Any personal experiences coming up for you?
Well, after that heavy topic,
I
I
don't have
was
anyone else to talk to about it because it's so
no,
heavy. But this is where we
it's
handle heavy topics.
no, it's good. It's good. This is the place to talk about it. I just
I like wrote the
I
note down and I'm like, who am I going to express this to?
yeah. To me and whoever else watched this is an episode.
Yeah, maybe I should put some trigger warnings. I'll put some trigger warnings.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't know for me. I think hmm I don't know why I'm struggling so much to figure out what stands out to me most in my own personal life.
Hmm.
I think like I don't know. At this point in time in my life, and this doesn't really have much to do with the episode itself, I feel very much in an in-between state, which I know that I've talked about. I'm pretty sure I've talked about on other episodes before, but I'm feeling more so now because I was recently accepted into the grad school that I want to go to. And so next fall, exciting news, I'm moving across the country to another part of Canada
Wow.
to go and get my master's of library and information science. And so now, like, it just feels like I'm like, not that this stage of my life is done because there's still so much time until next fall, and there's so much I need to do until then. But I think it's just hard for me to tune into like my own life and
Hmm.
because it just feels like everything is in more in a stage of becoming than it is a state of being. So, like I said, this doesn't have anything to do with the episode itself. I think I'm just pinpointing why I'm struggling so much to like find a specific moment in being like, this is what my life is like now. And this is how I can relate it to my own life and experience. Because right now, I think, like, I'm not sure if tuned out is the right word, but I just like, I don't know. I think there's some level of like dissociation happening here as I'm picturing my life in the future and I'm stepping towards my life in the future.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, this is ending soon.
I mean, I totally think that Vox Machina would relate to the whole becoming rather than being
Oh,
statement.
yes, absolutely. That's like their whole story. But I don't want to just like point at Vox Machina as a whole in this entire campaign and be like, that's me, because our whole thing is pointing out each specific episode and things in each episode.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely relate to like Vox Machina as a whole.
Yeah. But I think this is an interesting episode with that particular theme because the mansion kind of presents a being space
That's true.
outside of their normal becoming grind.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
kind of what I've been thinking is like, how can I create a mansion space for myself in my own life where I can go to like rest, relax, laugh.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're laughing and enjoying themselves in the midst of so much chaos right now, I think is extraordinary. Um, and also allow time to reconnect with one another or
Yeah.
with other people like Circonus or the Raven Queen, I think would apply to that as well.
Yeah, and then I guess like in terms of my own situation, that's a lot what this Christmas feels like
Mm.
because I'll be spending lots of time with family that I don't know how often I'll see once I go off to grad school, because once I'm done grad school, I don't know if I'm coming back to live here or if I'm going to live like around the place where I'm going to school, or whether I'm going to move somewhere else in Canada entirely. And so uh it is very much this Christmas, I think, will be a mansion moment for me of just like reconnecting with my family who I see fairly regularly here, because the majority of my extended family lives in the same part of Canada that I do, and the majority of them in this city, and the ones that aren't are like not very sorry, I just need to plug in my laptop because I just realized I forgot to do that and it's going to die soon. Anyways, like they're not very far away. They're only like it would only take a couple of hours to see them for like the vast majority of my family. And so this Christmas will be definitely, I think, a time to treasure the time that I spend with them, because now it's a lot less guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like
I,
I know I'll see them again. It's not like a permanent goodbye or anything like that, unless some great tragedy happens, but it's definitely a change is coming.
I've been noticing that I think a lot of people are treating this holiday season like that. I think a lot of people hope that the holiday season is something like that, where they can relax and recuperate and laugh and enjoy in the midst of chaos, right?
Hmm.
But I think, like we mentioned earlier, it's been a hard year.
It's been a hard year.
It's been a really hard year. And I think a lot of people are just particularly stressed, and looking for that type of pressure valve release.
Yeah,
I know I am.
absolutely.
Like, for sure, I can definitely relate to that. My pressure valve release isn't necessarily family. It's usually isolation.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but I'm very much looking forward to the isolation. And I
Yeah.
do have quite a few, like coffee dates set up with friends and people that I do enjoy, like found family type of activities.
Hmm.
And for the first time in a long time, I actually have New Year's Eve plans. I haven't really
Nice.
celebrated New Year's Eve for probably since pre-pandemic. Wow, has it been that long? Oh man, time is a weird soup.
It is a weird soup.
Um, and so for the first time in, man, 5 years, I'm actually going out and celebrating, and I'm very much looking forward to that as well.
Nice. That does sound fun. Yeah, family is an interesting one for me because I care very deeply about my family, but I also don't, around most of my family, don't feel like I can be fully myself. Like I am not, like I've only got a very small handful of family members that I'm like fully out to about my like gender and sexuality and stuff like that. And the vast majority, including my parents, just don't know. I know I'll come out to them eventually, but it's like, so it's this weird thing for me where I love my family and I love spending time with them, but I also sometimes feel like trapped with them, which is why I'm moving. I want to discover more about myself and feel like I have the space to discover myself more and have the space to tell my family about who I am, without it what their whatever reactions they have like being immediate in my area. But like I am in a way, so I guess in a way, as I'm talking again, don't know how this relates to the episode, but in a way it kind of is
Okay.
a goodbye, like a goodbye Christmas, in that this could be the last Christmas where they see me as how they think I am rather than how I
Mhm.
actually am, and kind of the gains and losses that come with that.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, like, it definitely feels like there's a disconnect in them, like not knowing me for me, but also it's like there's that like safety and comfort in knowing how I relate to them and what they think of me and all that stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if this master's degree is the vestige that Grog is looking for before he faces the herd of storms.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. Thanks for the episode tie-in.
I was like, I have ideas if you don't.
Yes, I like that idea. That's my vestige.
I mean, I think secondary degrees are great parallels to vestiges, you know.
Absolutely.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is actually a very good metaphor because it is like a powerful thing, getting that knowledge and that experience and
Yeah.
equips you more for the world and the challenges of the world.
And it's so much fun.
Oftentimes it's a fight to get.
Yes, and it's so much fun to discover yourself too in the process.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I'm excited as well.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
I'm gonna go get my master's degree. I'm gonna go get my vestige.
Huzzah! I mean, I don't have a master's, so kudos to you. Um, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna try to create some sort of mansion environment for myself where I feel protected and safe and free to be myself. Um, Free to joke about chickens and waffles and mimosas and sand pits and flying brooms. Um, I think we really did gloss over the whole Scanlan and Vex conversation with the broom and all of that jazz. I think that that was just endearing, I think, for both of them to
hmm
have that moment. Also, the Vex and Grog interaction that we got this episode, also very endearing. Um, and so like I've been so stressed this year, man. We all have been so stressed this year that I
hmm
kind of need to give myself permission to relax,
Yeah.
to create a mansion for myself and be like, okay, like I keep telling my nervous system it's okay to relax.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be pumping cortisol throughout my system all day, every day anymore. Um, So I think that's what I'm going to treat, or hopefully try to treat, the last few weeks of the year as
Nice. That sounds like a good plan.
a lot of laying on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Found family, I think is an important piece of that as well. And I think we see that in so many D&D groups too.
Absolutely.
Me and my D&D group have a holiday episode every December. Like we don't necessarily bring the holiday season into the game, but it's a more relaxed session usually for us. And we all bring snacks and we all bring presents and we all like,
Nice.
it's good times. And this particular session that we had this past weekend was just like a perfect example of that.
That's great. I
Um,
love a good holiday session. I'm not currently running an in-person campaign, but when I was, one of the things that I liked to do every year was to host a holiday session where we did like an in-character Secret
mm,
Santa. So the idea
mm,
was is that you
cute.
would get something that both the person you're gifting it to would like, but that
I'm gonna
also
write that
worked as
down.
an
That's a great
in-character
idea.
gift for like your like the actual character that you're gifting it to. And I always had a lot of fun with the DM as the DM because I knew a lot of good lore stuff. So like
Yeah.
at one point, like one of my players had a character who had this wife that they didn't remember and who had was gone and potentially dead. And so I got them a locket and
Mhm.
had like put some like the symbol of their relationship like
Mhm.
within the locket, and so it was also a fun little lore drop of
Yeah.
like, oh, you suddenly get flashes of memory. You don't know what this means, but you know it's significant. And so
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. One of my friends this year got everyone themed custom nail polish based on their character.
Oh, nice.
Like there's a company that you can go to and like buy customized nail polish from, and she named it based on like, like Hara's great axe or like it
Nice.
was so good. And I had to give her so many character notes for her to like make all of the different shades and combinations and names and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up on,
Yeah.
warm holiday feels. Anything else you want to add?
I do want to add, just because we did touch on the topic of suicide, I just want to like, say as like a statement that if anybody is like feeling suicidal or triggered after that conversation, like look after yourself, find a friend or a loved one to talk to. If you need to, find a crisis line in your area and call them. I just want to make sure that everybody's looking after themselves. I think suicide is an important topic to talk about because the more
Yes,
we talk about it, the less stigmatized it gets. But I also know that it is a topic that needs to be talked about with care. And so I just want to recognize if it did end up being triggering for any of our watchers or listeners, take care of yourself, get help if you need it, and know that we care about you and want the best for you.
absolutely. I will underline that 100 times. It's been far too many times in my life where people have come to me with their suicidal thoughts. And I've tried to support people as much as possible throughout it. And I am eternally grateful for the other people out there who are willing to offer support, and the crisis lines and the therapists and the counselors and the friends and the family and the neighbors, whoever
Hmm.
is there to help people throughout the times. And if you need to reach out to us as well, please, I'm here for you. um Per usual, this is powerful stuff that we're talking about. um yeah, I didn't have anywhere else to express that thought. It was like, these are usually therapy sessions, so and the Vex's statement just concerns me
Hmm.
for a variety of reasons, and um I'm surprised that the people at the table didn't necessarily give time to it either. But
Yeah.
hopefully that will come. We shall see. We're interested in hearing your own thoughts and stories and insights about Critical Role episodes like these, how they've impacted you in your own lives. Special thanks to Petal for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Had a great time.
Yes, we won't be seeing you next time.
No, because we condensed this all into one episode.
Yes. But next time we'll be discussing Campaign 1, Episode 48, Part 1, and joining me will be Atlas, so I'm excited for that. As always, I'm looking for more co-hosts and guests. So if you're interested in coming on, please do reach out to me. In the meantime, please comment, like, subscribe below. Follow us on Tumblr at Sacred Reading CR for all the juicy updates. And until next time, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be free, and be the chaotic good you wish to see in the world. Take care, guys.
Bye.